everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm here today to share with you my April TBR. So I'm just gonna jump right into it this month. I have still been feeling like my TBR has been very nonfiction heavy for the last 3 months. And so I'm trying to shift it slightly into more fiction. But what I am finding is that I'm really enjoying reading fiction more slowly and immersing myself in some great books. I've been lucky to really be reading some wonderful fiction books for the last 3 months. So I want to kind of continue that trend. But you'll notice I also have a lot of memoir on my library list, my library to be read shelf. And so I want to try to integrate as much as I can of that into my reading as well in order to try to balance out that list going forward as I'm adding new things. So if you are new here, I started this year a Fresh Reads project. This is an attempt by me to read more newly released books. So I tend to read mostly from backlist, and I've done that for most of my reading. And I wanted to bring in some freshness, some newness, and kind of jump into some of the trends and fun things happening in the book world more currently. So staying more current with my reads. And so one of the books that I will be reading in April is The New Internationals by David Wright Falade. So this was this is a 2025 release, and this was one of the books that was on a list of 7 books that I made to get to this year. And so this one was available at the library and I got it out. So this is set in 1920, post World War II Paris. And it follows some characters from the African diaspora who weave in with a native French woman. And they're all kind of coming of age post World War II. So this is exploring Paris. It's exploring the reconstruction of Paris post World War II. And it does also delve into a little bit of what's happening during the wartime. And yeah, I'm very excited. This is a new to me author. And I love reading books about Paris. And I don't think I've read anything specifically set in Paris at this specific time, because a lot of fiction around Paris and World War II is set during the war, not after. So excited to get to this one. I have 2 other fiction books that I have put on my TBR for April. The next one is The Heaviness of Things That Float by Jennifer Manuel. This is a Canadian author, a Canadian story. This is set in the northern west coast, I believe, of British Columbia. And it is about a teacher who is approaching the end of her career. So she's taught in a northern indigenous village for almost her whole career. She is kind of facing a bit of a life crisis as she's approaching this end of her career, because she doesn't have a family. She hasn't really done anything except devote her life to her career in teaching. And a student of hers that she has, an indigenous student who she was very close to, disappears. And so this is the story of what follows that as she is trying to help in the search for him. So, very excited to read this. It's been on my library to be read shelf for a really long time. So excited to finally get to it. And then my third fiction book is called Photographing Fairies by Steve Szilagyi. And this is a film. A film was made in the 1990s, I believe, based on this book. So it's got a very intriguing premise, and the film, from what I remember, was really great. So I'm excited to go back into this story and see if it still holds up for me. I just wanted to read you the description because it is pretty well laid out. In the 1920s, a country policeman, Constable Michael Walsmere, pushes his way into the London studio of Charles Castle, the world-famous American photographer, to show him some pictures. What Castle sees in Walsmere's pictures is incredible. When he goes to Sir Arthur Conan Doyle for verification of the fairy images found on the negatives, Doyle tries to bribe Castle to destroy the pictures. But Castle will not be bought. He is out to discover the truth. And it is truth he finds in the small village of Birkenwell, a village built upon secrets, strange sexual practices, beautiful gardens, and true human nature. So, yeah, it's a little bit of I feel like this is a little bit of a wild card. I have no idea if this book is going to be as good as the film, as good as the story I remember from the film, because it's been a very long time since I've watched the film. So yeah, but this is one that I bought years ago and have on my shelves, and I wanted to finally get to it. All right, so then we move into the nonfiction for April, and I'll tell you about my audiobook, which is Through the Garden by Lorna Crozier. So Lorna Crozier is also a Canadian author. She's actually a Canadian poet, and she was married and had a very long time relationship with Patrick Lane, who is another Canadian poet. And they lived together in various places across the country, but settled on Vancouver Island and lived there for 40 years. Years ago, and I discovered when I was looking at my Goodreads, it's so long ago that I actually hadn't put this book on my Goodreads, and so I rectified that and added it. I read There Is a Season by Patrick Lane, which is his memoir about his garden and his life with Lorna on the island. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed reading it. I can't remember if I listened to it or if I read it in physical form, but I added it to my Goodreads anyway, which again was quite a surprise that it wasn't on there. I guess there will still be books that I find going forward that I've read at some point in my life that I have not included on my Goodreads list. But when I saw that Lorna Crozier, his partner, had written her own memoir of her own perspective of, you know, their life together, I really wanted to explore that one as well. And she, the narrator herself, narrates it. So it's always great to have that personal touch of hearing the author's own voice as they are telling you their story. So that is my audiobook. And then I picked up Under the Tuscan Sun by Frances Mays. I think this is a pretty famous memoir. I have seen the film starring Diane Lane, is that her name? A very long time ago. And I really love these type of memoirs. You know, they evoke a place. Obviously, this was from 1996, so I'm sure Tuscany has changed slightly since Frances Mays first wrote this. But I did purchase the second memoir that she wrote about her life in Tuscany at a library sale or a used book sale 6 months ago or something. So I wanted to read this one first, obviously, before I read the second one. And I'm excited to see if I enjoy it. This style of memoir, like travel or moving to a new place and settling in, I find usually quite entertaining, quite easy reads, but also very evocative of the place. And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be making it to Italy or Tuscany anytime soon. So I thought it would be nice to travel there in a book. And so that is that one. And then we have my book club read for the months of April, May, and June. So I run a book club on Patreon. All the details for that are in the description box below if you'd like to join us. We are going to be reading How to Be an Artist by Jerry Saltz. So Jerry Saltz is quite an enigmatic character in the New York art scene. He is a critic. He is a kind of every guy's critic in the sense that he didn't set out in his life to be an art critic, but he became one and is quite well known. His Instagram account has lots of, you know, one-off quotes that he likes to shout out to people about being an artist. And I think probably, you know, the little vignettes that he's written in this book, you can see here, he kind of lists out, let's see, 63 different little vignettes on being an artist. And I think it's probably something too that's applicable just to life, like how to be a human. But I'm very excited to read this, and I'm going to be reading this with, like I said, my book club on Patreon. And we read this. This is a really short book. We're going to be reading it very slowly. We're going to have live chats. We're going to have posts where people can share about what they are taking away from the book. So if that is of interest to you, you can join us over there. And yeah, I'm excited to check this out and with my book club members and see what we think of this little volume. All right, so that is my TBR for April. I do have one of the Women's Prize for Fiction books on hold. That is Nesting by Roisin O'Donnell. I do not know when it will come available. It may come available in April to me. And if that is the case, I will most likely interject it into this TBR just to make sure that I can read it before my turn is over, because I most likely will not get it for more than one checkout. If you're interested in all of my Women's Prize reading, I've now released 2 vlogs about 2 of the nonfiction long list, one of which made the short list, which was 1,000 Threads by Nina Cherry. And I'm currently reading Good Girl by Aria Aber, and we'll have a vlog about that reading experience as soon as I am done that one. So lots of fresh reads coming, lots of vlogging, lots of reading, lots of good reading, and I hope you are also enjoying your reading this month. And I will be back again soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching.